Hello, my witchy friends. It's Victory ASMR, and today I have a really exciting book haul for all of you, along with a giveaway. I will be sending one of the books in this video to a lucky patron. As you can see, there's quite a few books here. All you have to do is go on to my Patreon and sign up for one of the tiers, any of the tiers, and you're automatically entered into the draw. You'll also unlock over a dozen exclusive ASMR videos, audios, history blogs, ad-free versions of my videos, and so much more. Your support really keeps the channel going, so why not join the coven and have a chance to win one of these books. So we're just gonna go through these books one by one. I'll tell you whether they're on my TBR list or if I just acquired a copy because I needed them in my personal library. A couple of these titles might be familiar to you because I've covered kind of their siblings on the channel before. I'll be sure to signal to that as well. But please, if you're new here, do subscribe and join us. We are a very friendly and welcoming bunch, and I do book hauls pretty regularly because I am an academic and a witchcraft historian. I'm always acquiring new texts of all sorts. I also am very curious to see what you are currently reading, so leave a comment and let me know what's on your TBR for the summer. I would love to know. So, I think we'll just start at the beginning of the stack here. Awkwardly put this down. So the first book here is The Kitchen Witch. And these are very popular books. I'm sure many of you are quite familiar with them at this point. I covered The Green Witch, which is by Erin Murphy Hiscock. And I was very curious about The Kitchen Witch. It's by Sky Alexander, so different author, but same series. And I love the beautiful purple color. It's a really nice texture with this matte finish, and it's your complete guide to creating a magical kitchen. I use Scott Cunningham's Wicca in the Kitchen for like kitchen related magic. So I was very just curious about whether this has anything that I don't already kind of know. But I also am a bit of a completionist when it comes to collecting series of books. So yeah, I just decided I should just pick up a copy of this. It says in the back, make your kitchen magical. And so, as with all of the books in this series, there's really only very basic illustrations. There's no full color, though I do like that it's in a purple kind of font. I love the color choices they've made. So this one is for lavender and lemon. You can see it's in alphabetical order, and you get just some pretty basic information about how to use these herbs and these parts of your kitchen, ingredients, But I don't know if this is really on my TBR list. I just kind of wanted a copy of it to check it out, and maybe I'll cover it on the channel at some point. Because it seems like you guys really love when I cover these books, probably just because of their immense popularity. We're all very curious about them. And there's even a section for Wheel of the Year celebrations, which is kind of cool. It's always nice that they give guidance with that in there. So that is my copy of The Kitchen Witch. Now I also have the Green Witch's Garden Journal, and this is part of my giveaway. From herbs and flowers to mushrooms and vegetables, your planner and logbook for a magical garden. This is such a beautiful planner. I already have a copy and have used it. I don't use up the whole thing every year. It has a weekly log and kind of like a garden compendium, plant compendium. You can use the two things in tandem with each other. It has all sorts of things: Latin name, common name, where you've planted it, what your planned uses are for it, and some culture notes, planting history, all of this. So this will be part of the giveaway. Trust me when I say you don't want to miss out on this giveaway. I'm putting lots of bonus surprise things in this package. Things from my personal collection. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. So that is the Green Witch's Garden Journal, an absolutely beautiful volume. And here's some footage I shot of it outside with some plants that I really need to get into my garden. But just a nice close-up of how it looks. I love that a lot of these books have chanterelle mushrooms on the cover for some reason. I mean, golden chanterelles are really pretty, so that makes sense to me. But yeah, it's a really, really beautiful journal. And I love the sounds that it makes as well. Kind of has that matte, papery finish. But yeah, I hope that you will go sign up to my Patreon and enter into the giveaway. Now, the next book is one from my childhood. It's called The Witch of Blackbird Pond by Elizabeth George Spear. And it's from the 1950s. It is a Newbery medalist, actually. And it was one of my absolute favorites from when I was a kid. And I'd like to read it. I'm planning on reading it in full on my Patreon. But it's meant to be a middle grade novel, so I remember reading it in like maybe the 6th grade or something like that, but it takes place in 17th century New England. And I remember really loving the characters and the very ambient, kind of mysterious vibe that it has. You're always wondering, who is the witch? You know, wondering who's going to get accused. And it's also quite historically accurate as far as American witchcraft history goes. So this is definitely on my to be reread list for the summer, but I'll be sharing in the experience with all of you on Patreon. So I'm really looking forward to that. But total blast from the past, seeing this book and realizing, oh, that's the one that I read when I was a kid. One of the books that really made me super intrigued about witchcraft. The next book, okay, so you might have seen this book before on the channel. This is the original version of the book by Mona Chalet. But I picked up the translation in defense of witches, the legacy of the witches, and why women are still on trial. Because I can read some French, but I'm pretty rusty, to be honest. My translation skills aren't as good as they used to be. So I ended up picking up a translation, and I am currently reading it. I absolutely love this book. Highly recommend if you are interested in an extremely unique approach to witchcraft history. One which is interspersed with like contemporary history in this very masterful way. The translation is really well done. I know it's very hard to translate academic style texts in a nuanced way, and the translator's done an excellent job of this. But I'm going to be doing a review of the book in the future on Patreon, and kind of a discussion of some of the passages that I've highlighted, because there's some really quotable things in this book that I just can't get out of my head. It has been a long time since I felt that way about a book, and I'm kind of behind on the trend here because I know this book came out in 2017 or 2018, but I just finally got around to reading it, and I am so glad that I am, because it's a wonderful read. You can see where my bookmark is. I'm not quite done it, but I'm in the process of reading it, and there's some really interesting comparisons between witches in the 16th and 17th centuries and modern day feminism. How women, are still on trial, as she says. It's absolutely wonderful. And really readable, not dense at all. Written in a very accessible, unput-downable kind of way. It's very compelling, so highly recommend. In defense of witches. Now, the next one I'll definitely be doing a video on. This is Sigil Craft, our guide to using, creating, and recognizing magical symbols. And this is by Leah Taylor. I was so drawn to the cover of this book, and then I read reviews, and I was like, okay, I have to get my hands on a copy of this. Now, I have very rudimentary knowledge of sigils. I understand them in a historical context, but on a very basic level, enough to get me by. Here's this book. But I'm really just quite curious about how Taylor recommends you use sigils in modern practice. There's lots of differing opinions on this, and I just really needed a solid book on sigils. back says, harness the power of magical symbols. There's little fingers crossed illustration there. And lots of lovely reviews of their book. And then we have a little imprinted context about symbolism, which is kind of cool. I love when authors have something printed on the actual inside cover. The pattern is also a bunch of sigils, so that makes sense. Lovely purple color. And here's the table of contents. We have all sorts of different chapters, the history of sigils, how to make them, and really squeaky book here. But I feel like, there's so much attention to detail. Every bit has a decoration on it, which makes sense. So there's chapter 2 on art and sigils. This lovely kind of collage style drawing. And there are these cute comic style illustrations that walk you through how to work with the sigils. Different symbols, like they've drawn Germanic runes, Anglo-Saxon, and there's like these lovely hand-drawn charts throughout the book, which I really appreciate. I love that. It just feels very personal. And then I love when there's a notes section at the back, because then the book becomes more your own than it was before, because you're writing in it, I'll definitely do a video on sigils at some point and probably talk about this book, but this is for sure on my to be read list. I have it on my bedside table, and I will be poring over it, making notes, taking my time with it. So next, I'm really excited about this one. I was recommended this one by one of you, actually. This is Wild Witchcraft by Rebecca Bayer. And it's all about folk herbalism, garden magic, and foraging for spells, rituals, and remedies. And from what I recall, it's inspired by Appalachian folklore, which I absolutely love. So fascinating. And I love the cover as well. The design is just so beautiful. These little birds that are kind of facing one another. Well, they're facing away, but... And it says on the back here, kind of like the tagline, learn how to cultivate your own magical garden. Begin your journey with folk herbalism and feel at home in nature. So I have this on my nightstand in its place of honor so that I actually work my way through it. I think that I'll just slowly start to read chapter by chapter. And I'll definitely post a review of it once I've finished. I'm so excited to start reading it because it looks so great. And I'm glad that it was recommended to me. I love how some of the papers have this yellow look to them. Like, it looks like aged paper almost, So, there. First few pages. And it says, this book is dedicated to all the people whose herbal knowledge has led to my own, namely the indigenous, black, and working class peoples of Appalachia today. And here's the table of contents on that beautiful, beautiful yellow paper that I love so much. So you can see it's like a compendium of sorts. There's so much amazing knowledge in here. It's really like an encyclopedia. Chapter 2, the relationship. It's surprisingly hard to find books that are in this aesthetic style that aren't just like a basic introduction to witchcraft books. Chapter 3, foraging. There's a couple of glossy illustrations here. The mandrake. So it's not all dense text. And there's also a Wheel of the Year. It's really pretty. I love doing Wheel of the Year videos. I feel like ASMR is a kind of witchcraft. It's kind of part of my practice. Making people sleepy is magic. So, and there's that in paper. Black backgrounds and a golden dragonfly. That is Wild Witchcraft. One of the titles in this whole that I am easily the most excited about. And we'll just put this over to the side and move on to the next one, which is VenCo. So this is by Sherry Demeline, and they're an Indigenous writer, a Canadian writer, and I was so excited to read this book. I'd heard about it a while back. It came out last year, I believe. And the premise just sounds so fun. I think it starts out in like Toronto, and then there's this move to like Salem, but it's about like an organization of witches, and it says on the back here, spellbinding and utterly original. VenCo shows the power women can hold. Wow. But yeah, there's Lucky St. James. It's the main character, a Métis character. And she is evicted from her apartment, and then she finds a silver spoon, and it has the word Salem etched onto it. And it brings her into this circle of magic and excitement. And look, a purple book lays underneath the slipcover, which I absolutely love. I tend to keep my slipcovers on, though. I know people that recycle their slipcovers. It's so bizarre to me. I would never do that. Just put that back on. But, like, sometimes you want the slipcover. You know? I don't get it. And it's pretty long. It's about 400 pages, actually. So a bit of a lengthy read, but I think the perfect summer read, or at least like late summer. It's a wildly imaginative and compulsively readable epic of adventure, history, Americana, feminism, and magic by the supremely gifted author of Empire of Wild. It's another one of their books. And there's the author on that back flap, as conventions dictate. That's where they tend to be. So that is VenCo. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. And love a contemporary witchcraft story, just to kind of freshen things up after being kind of lost in the history books. Okay. Also, you're gonna make fun of me. I'm sure many of you have read Circe, but I have not read Circe. So this is Madeline Miller's bestseller, about a witch, of course, a mythological witch. I know a lot about Circe, but I've never actually read this book. So I'm pretty excited to finally read it. Now, I've recommended it over and over and over again because people just love Madeline Miller. I decided to pick up a copy. I had a copy, I think, at one point, and then I don't know where it went. So this is a hardcover, and yeah, there's this whole process of discovery in this book. She discovers she has the power of witchcraft, and then she's like banished to a deserted island, and then there she like hones her craft, and it just sounds incredibly moving and inspiring and compelling. So there's also a map, which, you know, that's always a really promising sign when you get a book, that there's a map included. How rich the colors are, and hand-drawn kind of quality. Really, really pretty. So, and there's that back flap with Madeline Miller on the back there. So this is on my to be read list for sure. I can't put it off any longer. I've bought a copy, lost a copy, then bought another copy. Like it's time to give it its chance to sparkle and amaze me. And it looks so pretty on a shelf. I don't like that it has those like weird, like scrapbook ripply pages. I'm not a fan of those. I don't like when they do that, but whatever. It's okay. I will deal with it. So that's Circe by Madeline Miller. Now, I also have one more here that I didn't put in the stack because it kind of gives itself away. But this is a Folio Society edition of Wide Sargasso Sea. And it comes with its own blue slipcover. Now, for those of you not familiar with Wide Sargasso Sea, it is a retelling of Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte through the perspective of Bertha Mason, who's the mad woman in the attic in the original tale. So we get this wonderful additional perspective. And look at how amazing the cover is. It has like these beautiful textures, like waves. I love Folio Society books because they're just such high quality. I have that upside down here, whoops. But I have quite a few, and this one I just came across. This is not part of the same one. Look, there's like wavy textured paper on the inside pages. Love that, the end of pages. But I highly recommend reading this if you're looking for a great summer read. And look, the top has blue edges, but no other part of the book has those edges, which is bizarre to me. But it's a wonderful, wonderful book, and it was written in the 1960s, and it's like very feminist, very forward-thinking. So definitely check it out. That's my fancy little edition of Wide Sargasso Sea. So here is the final stack of all of the books that I'm adding to my shelf. I don't even have room anymore. I actually was sent most of these, save for Wide Sargasso Sea, by a loved one. It was like an Easter present, so I'm just getting to it now. But yeah, I am so thrilled and so excited to start reading through these. I'll certainly post updates, mostly on Patreon, And again, if you want to be part of the giveaway, please do join my Patreon. I would love to have you. We have such a cozy, special community, and I feel so lucky to be here and meet all of you and get to know you even better, both on and off YouTube. So I hope you have a very restful and peaceful sleep, and I'll see you again very soon. Good night.